We are getting closer and closer to panel recommendations here in California for the different ideas, the proposals that have been going around for reparations. And we have some details on what form those recommendations are likely to come in. Here are a few that are apparently being considered by the organization. An estimated value of payment for healthcare disparities. So roughly $13,500 for each year of residency inside of California. Estimated payment for housing discrimination, which is about $3,400 for each year spent between 1933 and 1977. There's also an estimated payment theoretically for the effects of mass incarceration and over policing, about $2,400 during the 49-year period between 1971 and 2020. And so, look, it is incredibly likely that to the extent that you read anything about this, those are the parts that you're going to hear about, and it is certainly a part of it. Theoretically, could cost a few $1 billion. There are also other parts that are not strictly speaking monetary, including recommendations to include updated language in the state's constitution, removing racial bias and discriminatory practices in standardized testing, compensating people deprived of profits for their work, investing in and creating free healthcare programs, and apologizing for acts of political disenfranchisement. So California's black population as of right now is estimated, according to the last census, to be about 2.5 million. And it'll be coming up near the end of June that these recommendations will be officially put forward. That, of course, is just another step in the path. That doesn't mean that any will be accepted, or let alone that all will be accepted. But Francesca, what do you think so far?
I think it's so important that we're talking about it, right? I think it needs to be in the conversation. And yeah, right wingers are gonna lose their minds, but no, if we don't actually envision it, if we don't put forward some concrete numbers, it's never gonna happen. And I think 2.5 million Californians, black Californians, yeah, let's do it. It will make this state a better place. It will make it a better place to live. There will be a quality of life improvement. We know what happens when people get literal cash in their hands, not what you think, what the right says they do, which is like apparently, buy Cadillacs and eat steaks. Shout out to Ronald Reagan, resting in hell. But like, this is what needs to happen. And the second part of all of this, and I sincerely believe in reparations, is actually ending the housing discrimination, ending the over-policing, and ending all of the ways that we continue to punish black Americans for being black, and we continue the legacies of slavery and Jim Crow up until today. So yes to reparations, and what are we gonna do going forward? Even if a small part of this were adopted, I think it would be a win.
Yeah, so look, I think it's certainly interesting. We're gonna see what ends up happening at the state level. This is, in theory, a step towards good news for a couple million people here in California. In the short term, it is the best possible news for the white hosts of Fox News.
Sure. Because
this is all they would ever want to talk about. They want to be able to tell their 99% white audience that this is unfair, obviously. As a little thought experiment, can you imagine if the federal government a century and a half ago or 2 centuries ago had promised white people something that was worth a lot of money and then not delivered on it? Do you think that Fox would ever forget about that? Do you think that they would consider it unfair for a state government to eventually make good on a very specific promise of land or the value of a land being provided? I kind of have a feeling they would be okay with it then. Yeah, by the way, did they have problems with the subsidies to farmers during the Trump years when they at least perceived that most farmers were white? They're fine with a lot of this stuff, as long as they think it's affecting them.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.